where your picture is visible. If you ever look at an agent, you have a listing and someone clicks on you, the agent, this pops up and there's your mugshot. Okay, you can take the one off the post office wall if you're one of those residents on the post office wall, and that's fine. But now at least you get an idea of who the agent is. But I want to show you one of our agents. Go ahead. What's wrong with this picture? Yeah. Now, I did put some stuff in red because I wanted to protect the guilty. Please put your name in there, your best phone number. How about an email address? If you had, now, this may date some of you, Amber. If you have an MSN account, if you have an AOL account, would you please update your email address? You'd be one of those, I would say, consider a KW account. But again, in the world, who knows, who's ever had me tell you what you should do with your email? Honestly, go ahead. What did I say? Yeah, I've said fix the signature. Yeah, I can do that too. But think about it. You guys should be branding yourself. You should be branding your business. What if your broker becomes a jerk and you leave KW and all your stuff is tied to KW? Did I do this in a public meeting? Guys, you should be branding yourselves. Dan, what is your email address? Dan at utahhomehub.com. Why Utah Home Hub? Huh? Oh, because it's Dan's business and Dan's team will all be tied together. Guys, it's important that you brand yourself. Anyway, just a thought, but that's why I have the best email. But for goodness sake, would you please put a picture in there? Recommendation, glamour shots probably shouldn't be used. It should be within the last 5 years, just saying. Had an experience once. I just sold this house. I sold this house to a buyer. This is back when again, set yourself apart, buyer agents. I went to present the offer to the seller because it was a normal market and we're kind of there now. I went to present the offer, met the agent. And I said, oh, your daughter wasn't able to make it? You know, as I inserted my foot into my mouth.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh. She said, no, that's me. I should probably update my picture. She was in her late 40s, kind of like your broker. Okay. We were literally about the same age. She was in her late 40s. This picture was a glamour shot from when she was in her early 20s. Okay. Hopefully, I don't know if you were at this when we went to a mega camp meeting once. There was a stunning photo of an agent that was going to come in on stage. She walked on stage. You could have heard a pin drop. She was almost walking with a walker. Okay. It was, I'm dead serious. You have to. So I hope I made my point. Truth in advertising. Yes, ma'am.
I am amazed how many on the KW search.
Oh, in the white pages. Yeah. Yeah. So for those on Zoom, on your KW white pages and in your KW profiles, dang it, put a picture there too. There's a good chance someone may want to use you. Now, I'll show you an example of what you may do if you don't want to scare people. Go one more. Yeah, you can be creative in how you want to put your picture in there, but I still think it kind of looks like me. And that was done in 1989, just after my daughter's birthday, which was yesterday. But she was a Halloween baby in 1989. This was done in December of 89, and yet it still works. I have had to lighten the hair. It was darker before. So truth in advertising. Guys, it makes a difference, and it shows up in that professionalism again. So I'm just wanting to encourage you to do that. So that's all I got today.
Woo! No worries. Okay. All right. We're turning over to rock stars, Riley and Hunter. Woohoo! What? It's nice.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, if you don't mind. Sweet. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I am super excited to talk to you guys. So Riley's passing out some flyers there. we're going to be talking today about the 36 touch plan, that thing that you always hear us talk about that's so important to growing your business. I think it's so often that I see, and it's not just in other people's businesses, in my own, that we are just running around doing real estate and there's no real system to it. So on there, you will see the recommended touches that you add to your client. And I'm going to be talking to you guys today a little bit about how to implement those. We won't go in too much of depth. We will actually have a follow-up class at 12:30 today after lunch, and I'll be able to take some really in-depth questions. But I kind of wanted to ask you guys first what you feel about this quote. So this was a Gary Keller quote in an Inman conference. Riley, do you want to give that a read?
So right now, the winners will be those who look up and go, okay, we're going to double down on our value proposition. We're going to double down on lead gen. We're going to double down on staying connected to our database.
Okay, when Gary Keller says the winners, who's he talking about? Someone give me a shout. Who's he talking about there? He's talking about us. He's talking about the agents that are in the business, right? And I won't ask this, but I'm going to ask it, and just answer to yourself. Who here is doubling down on lead gen, doubling down on staying connected to their database, and doubling down on their value proposition? Mark is. Mark's doing it. Good. Okay. So you're going to ask yourself that. I have a question for you guys. What's the biggest hurdle that you guys are facing? And I'm genuinely curious. What's the biggest hurdle you're facing when implementing a 36 touch plan? Is it the technology behind it? Is it what should I actually be doing? And I'd love to hear you guys' feedback. What are some struggles? Dan, we can just repeat maybe the question.
Like the phone call, like a lot of the stuff can be automated or systematized.
Right.
And like, you can't replace like getting on the phone and actually making the call.
Great. Okay. So actually taking the time, Dan, then to make the call, is that, or having a system of how to organize the calls?
I've got a system's easy to DTD too. Like you can easily create a system, but just having a system isn't going to cause you to actually get on the phone and call.
Yeah, the
call
actual
people.
action is what's required. Perfect. Okay. What else?
I think for me, it's getting my database in the place to be able to implement this into it.
Great.
So the upfront work of that.
Okay, perfect. So you're ready to put in the work, but you just need to know where to put the work into. Gotcha. Great.
For me, I've found that, especially with balancing school and work, scheduling time doesn't really work for me. I'm better off just making a task of each individual name I plan on calling.
Right.
Because then it's easier to do in a car ride between, to school or between each classes as I walk. I can easily make that call.
Right. So you would like it set up so it's almost automatic. All you have to do is just do the work, but it tells you almost what to do. Great. Awesome. Okay. Anyone else? Cameron.
It's more.
Sorry for the people on Zoom.
No,
We have
it's
some.
just more of a comment on this quote. So I saw this 2 years ago when COVID hit, right? And he said, double down, double down, double down. And I saw agents in the office do it and I didn't. And I regret not doing it. And that was the first year in real estate I made less than the previous year.
Right.
And it was still a good year for me. It was fine. We bought a camping trailer. We spent a ton of time with the family. I don't necessarily regret the year, but I regret not spending time as I had it, doubling down.
Yeah.
And so watching that 2 years ago and seeing agents hit incredible numbers and thinking at the end of the year, oh crap, I should have done more. I could have done more. This is an easy time to call just to check in and see how people are doing.
Right.
This is kind of the same thing. So I think I believe this wholeheartedly now, like,
I
okay,
love
it's
that.
time to double down. So I'm starting to make more calls and reaching out more and thinking, all right, I can see it coming again and I'm not going to miss out this time.
Yeah. I love that. I think, Cameron, to your point, I was reflecting on this quote as well. And I think while the circumstances that are happening around us and in our marketplace and in our economy are pretty different than they were the last 2 years, now is such a great time to just come from a place of value and just see how people are doing, right? Check in and maybe answer any of their questions. So I love that. Is there anyone else that has any issues? Yeah.
Yeah, I have probably about 1,000 people in my database, but
Great.
I only have all the contact information for about 300 of them.
Great.
Some of them are off of Facebook, so I don't even have a phone number for them that call and get the information.
Yeah.
So, finding a third party source that can kind of give me that information is is important for me.
Okay, good.
So I would say, and I totally relate to how you feel, because I have about 700 people in my database, and for a while I had, I don't know, maybe 200 or 300 that I actually knew. If you systemize your database efficiently enough and you really work it, just make it an effort to use that as a reason to reach out, whether that's through, email, or if you have a Facebook lead, go add them on Facebook, right? Like, use that as a reason for activity, not a reason to stop you from activity, if that makes sense. Because that's a gold mine. If you have 1,000 people, numerically, that's $1 million business just waiting to be tapped into. So I'm happy to even look at your database and work with you to make a plan on that if you'd like.
Great.
Can I make a comment or observation?
Yes, please.
Thanks, Shani. I mean, you don't necessarily need a third party contact to get their information. You can ask if you have their Facebook, like maybe that's a good way to ask for their email or their phone number. Like, hey, I'm reaching out to my people. Can I grab your phone number really quick? Or when I started, not that long ago, but we were sending out a letter and I would ask people for their address. So it was like one more thing, like, hey, I'm sending out this letter about my new career in real estate. Can I get your address? So, I mean, if you have one way to contact them, you can always just ask for the others.
Thanks for chiming in.
Okay. Okay, who has seen these before? Do you guys recognize these? Yeah. So I think for the last probably 5 years, I mean, I know for sure my first 2 years in real estate, this worked really, really well. You could stumble, I'm a perfect example of just stumbling and having success in real estate. And I've noticed that the long-term success that a lot of the agents that have been in the industry for quite a while, they have something a little bit more refined, right? They don't build models off of creativity, but creativity off of models. Does that make sense? So I think that that's fundamental and paramount to growing our businesses. I wanted to show you guys this slide as well. Does anyone happen to know what the 4 laws of lead generation are? Has anyone read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, recently? I'll be honest, I had to look it up. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't remember. But I think once you see them, you'll recognize what they are. Okay. Build a database, feed it every day, communicate it within a systematic way, and service all the leads that come your way. Who actually believes that this is going to grow a massive real estate business? Who has done this and grown their real estate business? Yeah, I know Cameron, Dan. Awesome. Okay, so we recognize that that's what we need to do, but how are we going to implement it, right? And on that paper, you see a lot of different touches, right? There are a bunch of different touches you can do, and there's more that aren't even on there, right? We want to identify which ones are the highest valuable ones, the ones that are worth spending your time on. And then let me help you systemize some things that you don't need to worry about, but we can have it running in the background. So who can speak to this pyramid? Who's seen this before?
If Becca was here, I know she'd say.
Yeah,
she
Becca
had.
would, chime up.
Definitely.
I know Clay would talk about this as well.
So just looking at this, what does this mean to you? Like if you look at this graph, what do you think it's saying?
We just repeat it.
Yep. So just for those on Zoom, Dan said that something like a one-on-one meeting, like a lunch with a client, is probably going to be more impactful than direct mail. Why? I mean, honestly, it's a pretty straightforward question, but why do you think that is? And why do you think it's important to have a touch plan that incorporates not only all of these, but is very specific in its strategy to make those happen?
Right.
100%.
I want your opinions. Where do text messages fall?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say somewhere lodged between phone call and handwritten note, but it also depends how you communicate via text. If it's a simple check-in or if it's a thought out message, you could even do a voice memo. So I think they could be you could strategically work that in. Also, is it an automated text from your database? Is it something you personally reached out with yourself? I would say if it's an automated text, that's more along the lines of like electronic communication. If I send out a massive text that just says like happy holiday from, Right Key Real Estate or whatever your red sign team, that's a lot different than if I say, hey, Jill, I was thinking about you. I just wanted to wish you a happy Halloween. I hope your family's doing fantastic. That's way different, right?
I think too, when looking at this, we have to look at the laws of communication, effective communication. And part of it is if you look at, the true science behind it, what part of influence comes from just the words that you say? Does anybody know the stat? 7%. Really low. How much of it comes from body language?
It's like 80% or something.
Yeah, it's almost the opposite. 75% of communication comes from body language. So that's why the one-on-one meeting, any face-to-face interaction is going to be a higher impact on that influence or on that relationship. Same thing with a text message. The thing you remove there from a voice-to-voice phone call is tonality. Tonality also has the way to influence. So if you are going to look at it in order of priority, obviously face-to-face, then phone call, then it would probably be a text message just because you can't influence. You probably have seen this where you've gotten a text message and you can't really tell what their emotion is or what their, how they're trying to present that information. It doesn't come across the same as a voice to voice.
Right. 100%.
Yeah, that's solid.
Awesome. Well, one comment I would make too is that we obviously know that the one-on-one meeting is really important. And that's what you should prioritize. And then the phone, right? But I don't want to discredit the other steps aren't important. So let's take care of those. Let's get those in place. But also please don't let the lack maybe of having that implemented already prevent you from taking action on the most important communication levels, right? Let's do it. Let's set up the emails, and I'll talk to you about that right now, right? Let's set up the database so it works for you and it's really systemized and it's easy. But don't let a lack of maybe perfection. I know that I'm guilty in this, and this is how when I got started. I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted my email signature. I wanted my handle on I just wanted everything perfect, right? And that has prevented me sometimes from taking action. So I would discourage you from that.
Yeah, I just want to chime in on that really quick. I completely agree. And our goal with this really is to show you guys how to almost create like a la carte option for you. So you make sure that your clients are getting a mix of everything. You're omnipresent, right? So it's not just a phone call when you randomly think of their name in the card. You go, oh crap, it's been 4 months. It's like they know they can count on consistent communication of varying methods, which is going to make you guys stay top of mind. And I would even say that sometimes the energy with which you take action with is almost more important than the action itself, right? Just by showing up, you'd be surprised at how much momentum you can create. There's been weeks when I'm making phone calls that are unrelated and then I end up picking up 2 listings, but it's almost just like by showing up in that way, you start to put that out there, you're going to get a good return. So,
So to Riley's point about that Ollie cart, we are building this out. This is just about done, and I'll be emailing this to you guys by the end of the week. But this will basically have, and I would love suggestions for other touches that you guys have found valuable in your business. But I think it's also important to stick to those key points that are on that paper that we handed you out, right? That's the study that those are the most important influential tasks. But you'll see here, this has all the touches that at least
Hunter, can you blow it up?
Yeah, let me do that. Gotcha. So this will have all of the touches that we think that you should be implementing in your business. And then look at this, how to actually implement it, right? We want to make it as super, and obviously I'll be here and available to answer any questions, but my whole goal is that for you as the agent can just look at this and step by step. We also have, a Tango board here that will just let you walk through it step by step. So there's no questions, right? I understand and I feel for agents and myself in my business when you're confused on how to do something. Hopefully this kind of lays it out for you. And then there's no excuse for not executing it. Yeah, Dean.
How long will it take someone to do this? They follow this Tango board?
That's so great. Guys, it really isn't that time consuming. Maybe initially a couple of the setup. We'll talk about tagging your top 200 people. That's kind of what we recommend, or your VIP list or your SOIA. There is some, there's some time consuming task, but it's really not that big of a deal. And once it's implemented, I will say there'll be a reference on here for some kind of like best practices. Once you have the system built, and again, it'll probably take you no more than an hour. Once it's built, every time you enter a contact in, you can just get it super fluid. So they're automatically inserted into your 36 touch plan. But I'm super excited about this because it really is laid out really well. And there's a couple of options for you. So like on the call plan, there's one that's as simple as just remind me to call people every 90 days. Or we can do what Dan does and what the Red Sign team does, which I think is super effective, which is the bold system or the DTD2. That one's a little bit more high level, but I'll take you through that and we can set that up.
Yeah, I would say Shoni always mentions this, like if you were to go cut down a tree, you'd probably spend most of your time, or you should at least spend most of your time ahead of time sharpening the saw. This is almost like showing up every day once this is built with sharpened saws. You just show up and take the action, but once you build the system, it's honestly stupid simple. Like it makes this job or this career, I should say, or your business, like almost like autopilot. You really can't lose. So yeah, take time to do it. It's worked out for me, personal experience, and our goal here is just to make it as digestible as possible for you guys. So it's definitely valuable. But
yeah, and we won't again dive too much into depth right now. We're going to be having another. We'll meet again here in just a little bit, but I want to point out that so many of this really is automated too. Like when you hear 36 touches, that might be overwhelming, but my whole goal is to have it so the agent really only has to make the phone calls, right? And that's probably it. Obviously personal text and personal handwritten cards, that's a little bit higher level, but you could also, we can go through and how you can systemize that.
Hunter, while you're, I know you're going to get into command here, but one thing I want to point out is how many of you asked the same question in your mind that Dean just asked? And Dean, what was your question?
How long does it take to set this up?
How long is it going to take? Like, let's be honest. How many of you have asked that question in your mind? Right? I just want to share a principle with you that's going to ring very true in 2023, which is that everybody has to decide to pay the price. Like think about, and I've shared this with some of our ALC members, think about when you go into a convenience store, you go into maybe a car lot to buy a new car, everybody always looks at what before they make a purchase?
Price.
The price, right? Have you ever looked at, maybe gone to Lululemon, you're like, oh, I like that shirt, or I like those pants. And then you flip the price tag over and you're like, I liked it before I saw that cost. Right? And you still buy it, right? Some of us. And the reality though is, wouldn't it be far more advantageous for you to say, I'm going to either pay this right now, or would you rather go up to the counter, have them scan it, tell you the price, and be like, oh, never mind, I don't want to buy it. Like that's what most people do with their goals. The reality is this might take you 3 hours or 4 hours, but it's going to save you $50,000 in the next 12 months. So what is the ROI on that time? Pretty effective, but you have to decide up front that you're willing to pay that price.
doesn't even include what it's going to make you. It's just going to save you a lot of money. But I'll tell you, like, this has been like, it's like a cheat code. Like that's the best way I could describe it. So I really enjoyed it, but.
Okay. As a raise of hands, who actually believes that? Like who believes what they just said? Awesome. Okay. And then a raise of hands, who's going to implement it? Who wants to actually take action? Awesome. Good. Okay,
If you
great.
didn't raise your hand, why?
Maybe just for you are didn't have your hands ready.
They're still questioning the price.
They're still questioning the price. Awesome. Well, again, I really do want to make it as simple as possible. I'd love to show you guys just one quick thing. I know a lot of people do not use command if they're on bigger teams like Red Sign team. I've been out of Boomtown for the last 10 months. So that being said, a lot of these systems can be totally implemented in the CRM that you're using already, right? It's just a system, and even if you're using different technology, you can implement it. I'm going to show you specifically something in command, especially for smaller agents or solo agents, how important this little piece is. It's just related to the email. But Kimber Walton out of Salt Lake office, she does a really good job of every month giving us an updated NAR stat and UCAR stat. If you guys remember, we said 24 emails. Well, she takes care of 12 of them right for you. Do you have a comment?
How many of you currently, raise your hand, are sending out market updates every single month religiously?
Kelsey.
1, 2, Kelsey, you
Sean.
don't count. Okay, I'm kidding. 3, 4 of you?
Cam is.
Okay. This is one thing, if you take nothing else from today, this process takes on average 4 to 5 minutes a month. And I'm telling you this because I do this every single month.
Yeah.
It's super simple because somebody else creates the content. All you have to do is press send. But he's going to show you exactly how to do it.
And what Shoni said is important is this does, while it's going to be super easy, it does take some time on your plate, right? Only a few minutes, but you need to take the action every month. Hey, at the beginning of every month, I am going to send my monthly update, right? So I'm going to show you guys really quick how simple it is to get Kimber's market update. So if I'm logged in Command, and again, if you don't use Command, you could still take her marketing piece. She distributes this to Keller Williams nationwide. So if we come over here, Smart Plans, okay? I just clicked on Smart Plans. I go to Library, and I'm just going to look up Kimber. I'm going to change the Smart Plan name so I can search by the author's name. I'm going to come over here to this view category right here. And this is super important because you want to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date market update. Simply tap on newest. And look what I saw come in this morning. We have her November stats. Okay. So if we click on 36 touch, so you can do the UCAR or NAR, depending on what you want your clients to receive. All I'm going to do is add this smart plan. You can rename it if you want. I'm just going to download it. And I had already downloaded it this morning, so I already have it. Once you download it,
And don't worry, really quick, don't
Yeah.
worry about all these steps because we've documented it with pictures.
yeah.
So it's 7 steps, super easy, but we have pictures for every step to make it easy for
it's
you.
on that Tango board, and I'll share this to you guys. So again, that should be going out by either today or tomorrow. So if you let me know if you don't receive it, because I'm going to send it in an email, and we'll make sure you have these steps. But anyway, then you're just going to click back over to Smart Plans. You can click just right here, Smart Plans. Okay. Where are we? Right here, my 36 touch plan, November. Now, there's a few ways that you can go about adding the smart plan to your contacts. I would recommend sending it to everyone that you have an email for. That's what we do on RedSign. We just send it to anyone that has an email. You can also obviously target who you want. I'm simply going to just go into contacts and just show you how you could bulk add people. So I have this set up just so it shows 4 contacts, right? But the idea to bulk add it to everyone is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to display as many contacts as possible to streamline the process, especially if I'm sending it to everyone. If I was going to send it to a specific group, we can talk about that later, how you want to filter it and send it to a specific group. But this is just a Utah update. Let's send it to everyone. Well, I'm going to make sure I'm displaying all of my contacts. I'm going to click over here in the top. I'm coming to this right here, which is a bulk action. And I'm going to add to a smart plan. Okay. Right here, my 36 touch plan, select. And this is kind of up to you when you want to start this. Now, Kimber releases this at the start of every month. Depending on what other email you send out, you might want to stagger it because we recommend bi-weekly, right? The other email that we'll talk about later in the class that I'm teaching is going to be just a monthly neighborhood update that is automatic based on their address. That goes out depending on when you schedule it. So you just want to get clear about when you're scheduling your emails. But if I was to press start now, confirm, awesome. Now, Shoni, Molly, Hunter, and Hunter, even those are all my emails, they're going to receive that market update that Kimber did. And let me show you what it actually looks like, just so you're aware what you're sending. I kind of just sent that. But this is what the email looks like. It's super high quality. Hang on. Yeah.
That's yes.
Yes. And then she's got Salt Lake County, entire state. And she has an awesome little summary. And then this is cool right here. It'll populate all of your mobile number, website. So talk to me. Let's make sure that everything's up to date. But yeah, this is what they receive.
And you can edit any of that. You can take out the picture and put a different picture in there if you wanted to. You can adjust the text, but the bones is already there for you, which makes it so much easier. A lot of us, it's hard to create something from scratch. And so this minimizes the process. You can send it out just as is, super simple. And it will add your information automatically for every single person. Hunter, right up at the very top, you can also click what it looks like on like a mobile phone or a tablet. So you can see kind of the different versions of how it's going to look on their phone and stuff.
Okay, who thinks this would be valuable? Good, glad to hear that. Okay, who's gonna commit to sending this to their database? All right, Angie's gonna send it today. Perfect. I would love to get some feedback on how the conversations go. Another piece that you could add is when you're making your phone call, I would recommend having the phone call and letting them know that you're going to be starting to send them information regarding to the market update. Hey, would it be beneficial if I kept you updated on all the latest stats in Utah? Awesome. I'd love to send you my monthly newsletter, right? Hey, would you be interested in knowing about what homes are selling for in your area? Perfect. I'd love to keep you updated, right? And that way you have a better engagement on the emails because the stats will show that the engagement level just typically isn't too high. So that's a way to increase your odds of actually getting some real value out of the delivery. Any thoughts, comments, ahas? Okay, well, I'm really excited for this next portion. So that's something that we'll be diving into. I'll help you implement it. But at the end of the day, you need to talk to people. Clay, have you sold more houses from emails or from phone calls? So Peyton does write a pretty good email. So let's look at this right here. Let me get back over to our slides. Okay, this is probably where I struggle the most as an agent. My sales coach knows this, but I want someone who is very maybe doesn't love talking on the phone so much. When someone read this, who's someone like that's me. I'll talk to people all day long, but for some reason I hate getting on the phone.
Raise your hand if you hate phone calls.
I hate phone calls. I admit it. I hate it.
Connie, will you read this? Yeah.
Real estate is a contact sport. Immediately make sure you're spending half of your day talking to people.
Holy cow. Honestly, who is talking to people half of their day? Like clients, probably Dan. I know Dan is.
Dan the man. Awesome.
Okay.
Anybody else? I can't even raise my hand, so don't feel too bad.
Well, this is where I'm going to turn the time over more to Riley because this is where he's really excelled. And we're going to talk about connecting with your database at a high level. He's got some awesome strategies that will help you guys overcome that. And I'm really excited to hear.
Could I have you help me with tech? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Awesome. So raise of hands. I'd love people to chime in and make this kind of more of a mastermind, and then I'll jump into the training. What do you not like about phone calls? Like, just give me from your guys' point of view or feedback. What do you feel like you struggle with? What was that? Okay, bugging people. What else? Okay, so how long it takes. So that means you're good at talking, right? You have good conversations at least. Okay, so don't want to bug people. How long it takes. What else? Let's get like maybe 2 or 3 more. Go ahead.
Right.
Okay. So how to tie real estate into the conversation without sounding maybe salesy or gimmicky or uncomfortable. Okay, Connie.
Yep.
How to sound credible.
Yeah.
Okay.
That has been my biggest thing in my first 2 years is I'm just a 23-year-old kid. Like, why is anyone going to sell real estate with me? Right? What am I going to talk to them about?
23-year-old man. Change that word. You're already halfway there.
Well, when you look at Riley, you look different than us. Like,
No.
hey, Clay.
What you got, Taryn?
Phone calls with people I don't.
Okay. Phone calls with people you don't know. So what if I told you that I have a tool for you that's going to solve all of those problems and more, and you'll never have a bad phone call again? What would you pay for that?
I'd call you a liar.
You call me a liar. Okay. So here's what I created for you guys. Scroll back up really quick.
Yeah.
So this is accessible to anybody in the Market Center from here on. I basically consolidated all the best scripts and I'm not saying if you're saying I'm sold like, 70 houses last year, all these different things. What I will say is I'm good on the phone. That's definitely my thing. If there's one area of real estate I excel in, it's that. So I'd love to share it with you. So I made lead generation made easy. So this is a basic overview, right, of kind of my approach or some of the KW models for lead generation and some of the best scripts that I've found to help making phone calls super enjoyable. So I just want to set the tone. Let's talk about what an actual lead generation plan is. Who's heard of a daily 10-4? Raise your hands. Okay, so half of you or more. Okay. So your daily 10-4 is the number one habit you should make daily to ensure that you're consistently getting business and to build your database to a very healthy state. The simple formula really is the key to getting your unfair share of business. Simple is always better. So it consists of 10 contacts per day. So just quizzing you guys, what's a contact? What constitutes a contact? Okay, so conversation, I'd even add on there, the conversation has to mention real estate, because I could call people all day in small talk and I'd have a really good time. But then again, it's not productive. So solving those problems you guys spoke about, I would even say it has to, revolve around real estate in some way, shape, or form. 10 new contacts added to command. If you guys don't use command, let's just say your database every single day. 10 handwritten notes sent. That's as simple as sending a note to the people you spoke about or whoever pops in your brain. It doesn't matter. Just try to be grateful and spread some love. And then 10 homes previewed per week. Especially for time wise, I don't necessarily want to go drive around to 10 houses. If you're a new agent, I'd recommend it. If you're a little more experienced, bust out 10 CMAs a week. Go learn more about the market. It helps you stay in touch with things. And then it's also a good thing to collaborate with other agents as well. So if you ever want to give me a second opinion when I post in Facebook, that's a good practice. Understanding your job description. So the 20% activities, really, we're in the lead generation business, not the real estate business. Just because you have a license, it's a fancy title at best. If you're not actually getting clients, it doesn't matter, right? So your job description in a nutshell really is uninterrupted lead generation, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and practice what you say, which if I had a guess, the parts of this you guys hate are practice what you say, script practice, because most people don't like that. Uninterrupted lead generation. But if I said, hey, I got a hot lead, you got to go meet with the seller in Saratoga Springs, you jump on that. You love going on appointments, you love negotiating contracts. So the purpose of this training today, although short, it's going to be impactful, is to make these two just as enjoyable as this. Does that sound fair? Awesome. Let's move on. So here is my real estate script book. You guys are welcome to look through all of this. Scroll up really quick. There's some typos still. I didn't make it perfect. It's okay. We're going to focus just on SOI today. So I need you guys to pair up into groups of 2. I'm going to role play my script with someone in the crowd or whoever wants to come up. And then we're going to break off into groups and I'm going to have you guys practice this. I'm going to show you how easy it is to not only make your calls, but this is just good general practice, whether it's someone you meet in the grocery store, someone you're calling for real estate, open house, it doesn't matter. It's basic sales skills. So if you want to scroll to the SOI script really quick. So first things first, let's have you guys break off into pairs of 2. So take a minute to find your partner. If you don't have a partner, raise your hand. I'll just quickly touch on this and then I'll go into my script. Okay, everybody have a partner? That's a powerful combo right there. No, it's like the man, the myth, the legend combo. Okay. Yes, I can. So if you don't have a partner, raise your hand. Last call. We'll send them out. Yep. And like I said, there might be some typos or whatever. Don't judge me. That design is not my skill set. Okay, cool. So I just want to quickly talk and give you an overview of the script. Again, what's the kind of the rhyme to the reason? So in my mind, the number one sphere of influence script uses a simple formula called the Ford method. Who's heard of that before? Okay. So that basically means family, occupation, recreation, dreams. That's a framework on how to build a conversation to make it like stupidly simple to have small talk and never have it feel awkward, right? So the goal should be to strengthen the relationship, especially, so you're saying, well, what if I haven't talked to him in forever? That's the point. You should be very motivated to make that call because, really, those are the people you should be going after, people you have not talked to in a long time. Basic formula for when I make phone calls that I'd encourage you guys to adopt is when you're making your calls, take notes of the conversation in command as you're on the phone with them. Literally have your laptop in front of you. And as you're talking to them in your earbud or you have your phone on your shoulder, you're literally just taking like a brief summary notes. Okay, they're doing this, they're up to this, their daughter did this, whatever. I'll explain why that's important. This allows you to keep up on what's going on in their lives. And it also allows you to know on the next call what you're actually going to talk about. So if I talked to Sherry 3 months ago and she mentioned to me throughout my call that, she's going on a trip to, I always say this, but my students heard this like 50 times, going on a trip to Mexico and, her daughter's going on a mission and, maybe she recently had a job change and I'm taking notes on that. How much more impactful is my next phone call when I say, hey, Sherry, it's been a couple months. How are you doing? I'm doing great. Hey, how was your trip to Mexico? Wow, it was really good. Really, what was your favorite part of the trip? It was amazing. We did this, this, and this. Cool. How's your new job treating you? If I know those things rapid fire, how special does she feel that I took time out of my day to basically give a recap on her life, dig a little deeper, find out what's important to her, what's happening, and let her know that I care. Versus, hey, this is Riley with Keller Williams. Do you know of anybody looking to buy or sell? I honestly hate that script. I could not make that call every day. And no wonder you don't want to make your phone calls if that's what you kind of been taught or your framework is. So each topic is, I should say, client driven. You ask the questions and make it all about your clients. Suddenly they're opening up to you and a relationship forms. There becomes this feeling of trust. Just be careful not to ask any yes or no questions. Instead, make your captive audience give real answers and truly, strike up a conversation. This will become one of the most common scripts you utilize to build rapport and connect with people. Like I say, this is something you could use if you bump into someone you haven't seen since, 10 years ago in a grocery store. How simple is it to follow that framework of a conversation rather than be like, oh, I feel awkward saying hi. It's just good people skills. So scroll down a little more if you don't mind. Basic framework. Again, you've got family or friends. So you've got a couple different questions you can ask for friends. How's your family? How'd you meet your spouse? Have you guys done anything fun recently? Whatever. Occupation, what line of work you're in. And again, you can kind of tailor these questions based on your previous relationship with that person. So if I already know Sherry, I'm not going to call her and be like, I'm not going to ask a stupid question, basically. Use common sense, right? Just formulate your questions, make them genuine and authentic from what you would say based on the person you're speaking to. So we'll move on. I'll just do a quick role play and then we'll break into groups and bust this out. How are we doing on time, by the way?
We're up on time. Can we push this into the second segment?
For sure.
So, because we're going to just take a quick break for lunch. Did we already go over this? Step out for a sec. So
you're good. Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to take a quick break for lunch. And then we'll continue this class actually for the next 45 minutes. So there's in maybe 30, 45 minutes. So if you want actual help with implementing some of this stuff, stick around because it's going to be impactful, especially if you have your computer. We're going to walk you through step by step on getting some of these smart campaigns set up. And the cool thing is some of them are set it and forget it. Once you actually push the start button, you don't have to do anything else. There's been clients who have had on what's called a neighborhood nurture or an automated CMA for the last 2 years. And I can see every time they open it, what their engagement is, a lot of cool factors. But I actually want to take a break and introduce a good friend and somebody who is going to be impactful for your journey in 2023. One of the things that we've talked about is here at KW Westfield, we care so much, not just about your business, but also you just optimizing life. Like you just having an amazing year, not only financially, but also in all the other categories that are important to you. And I was listening to a Robert Kiyosaki podcast the other day, and he said something interesting about the market that we're heading into, because we know we're not heading into another 2021 booming market in 2023. Where are we most likely going? Into battle. We're going into war, right? And one of the things that Robert Kiyosaki said is he said, the more dangerous the mission, the more prepared you've got to be. Okay, think about that. The tougher it is, the smarter you've got to be. And I believe that your energy in 2023, both emotionally and physically, is going to matter more in the next year than it did the last 3 to 5 years. And part of that is making sure that you're optimizing your health and your time. And so 1% Fitness, we've reached out to this organization and they are partnering with KW to give you a discount on meal prep services. They're going to be delivering it right here to the office every single week. So you can pick your meals up here, make it simple and easy. Or if you eat here on a consistent basis, your lunches are already here and ready for you. But they've catered lunch today, so you can taste their meals. There's actually who uses their service already. And those who would like to stay for this second portion will kick off in about 7 to 10 minutes.
Jessica right now. So ring, ring. Okay, I'm going to give you a microphone so we can. Okay. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Jessica, or I should say, hey, is this Jessica?
Yeah, this is.
Hey, Jessica, this is Riley. Listen, I owe you an apology. I really haven't done a great job. I'm going to paraphrase, but I'll read through it actually. So, hey, Jessica, I owe you an apology. Listen, life's been hectic and I haven't really done a great job of keeping in contact with people. I have a goal this year, reconnecting with people I care about. And I just want to see how life's been. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thanks
That's awesome.
for checking.
No problem. Hey, how's the family? I just saw you had another kid.
Yeah, we've got 2 kids now, so it's been a little crazy. It's been an adjustment.
I can imagine how crazy is it to have 2 just compared. I'm just like BS in here, but like how crazy is it to have 2 versus just having 1? Is it chaotic? Have you been overwhelmed or has it been a good experience?
Overwhelming in the beginning. I thought adding another one was just going to be super easy.
Mhm.
It is not, especially with a crazy 4-year-old. So like toddler plus newborn, like thought I had it under control. Definitely don't, but you know, it gets easier as he gets older.
That's awesome. Do you guys have any fun plans as a family coming up? You doing like holiday photos or anything cool?
No, we kind of did our family photos like in June, and I don't think I could like pull myself together enough to get another one done this year. But like with Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff, we're just gonna take it easy. We're not gonna do anything super crazy.
No, I totally understand. Well, I'm curious. Are you still working over? I don't know. Let's pretend you work at Panera Bread.
Is there a Panera in you?
I don't even think so.
Panera is great. Yeah, retail is awesome.
That's
gotta
cool. How long
love
you
it.
been over there for?
5 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What are your long-term plans with it?
You know, I don't know. I feel like right now I'm just trying to keep afloat with the new babe and then just figure out life next year, probably after he gets a little bit bigger.
That's amazing. So just to quickly stop real quick. So this whole time I'm taking notes, right? I'm like, oh, she's just had another kid. You know, I could even talk about like, she's just going to hang out for the holidays. No crazy plans. She's still working at Panera Bread. She's got this and this plan with her career. Right. And I'm just basically just almost like an interview, but not, you don't want to make it feel that way, but I'm just playfully asking questions and kind of diving in. And the great news is that she could go off on a tangent about how, oh, she hates Panera Bread and she's planning on working for Amazon. And I could, you know, pick her brain on that. We could go on a whole different tangent, but it's just like, you're just tying it back to this framework. There's a purpose for it. So let's pretend we get to the end and I just say, okay, cool. Well, for dreams, I don't really ever ask somebody like, hey, Jessica, what are your dreams? That's kind of weird, right? So just think of this one as more like goals or maybe long-term vision or upcoming whatever, right? So I could say something like, well, that's cool. Hey, do you have any like awesome goals for next year you're trying to accomplish or any, you know, cool family plans?
Well, next year I am working to get my coffee truck up and running and just be a total badass killing that.
That's
So,
cool.
I mean, it'll be crazy in pursuit and maybe I'll be able to quit Panera Bread, but
That's amazing. Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, all of you guys need to support Jessica with her coffee thing. So that's just a side note, but
I'll have hot chocolate, I promise.
yeah, right. So anyway, and then I tie it and I say, okay, so we get to the end of the conversation. Arguably this, you know, framework would take 5 to 10 minutes or so, depending on how good you are at asking questions, how talkative the other person is, so on and so forth. So this is the part where you loop it back into real estate in a very simple way that does not feel weird. Like, hey, that's awesome, Jessica. Listen, I'm really grateful you made time to catch up with me today. I've had a lot going on myself. You know, I actually recently just took a new position or like whatever, right? And you don't want to necessarily reference real estate quite yet, but you could say, I just went on a trip to New York City and, you know, I'm going to Costa Rica next weekend. I got all these random things going on. You know, and then you could also say something about the real estate market. And this depends, right? So there's 2 ways you can format this call. I could pretend Jessica is somebody who I haven't talked to in 3 years. She has no idea I'm in real estate. And I could use this as an opportunity to say, yeah, I actually just got started in real estate, or I've been in real estate now for, you know, 3.5 years. Or if she already is one of my clients that knows about the fact I'm in real estate, you could say, yeah, and honestly, the real estate market right now is crazy. You probably heard that rates are going up, but there's this cool program called the 3-2-1 buy down. So, you know, if you hear of anybody, whatever, right, you can kind of touch on that. And then I usually will close it with just a quick value proposition. So that reminds me, I also send out a monthly neighborhood update, postcards for birthdays and such, and even a newsletter now and then. Would you make sure I have your correct email address and address? Or, hey, I don't have it. Do you mind if I grab it? Perfect, right? And then, thanks, I appreciate it. To hold myself accountable, I'm sharing my goal with people this year. I want to help 20 families buy or sell real estate. Do you by chance know of anybody I could help right now? That sounds that's my preference for asking for a referral. Who can I help? I'm not asking, hey, who do you know who's looking to buy or sell this year, right? I make it more personal. And then I end the call. Cool. Well, hey, be great to catch up soon. When you get your coffee truck up and running, I'll come, you know, pay you a visit or whatever. Then you move on. So that conversation takes maybe 10 or 15 minutes. If that, it could take 3 minutes, depending on how quick you are. But the majority of the conversation is all about them. And it also gives you the opportunity to really, truly get to know that person, build a relationship. Like I've had this phone call and I've gone on a deep dive tangent about, I mean, like crazy stuff. Like I get off the phone call sometimes and I'm like, I didn't even know that person had that history or they're going through that right now. And it's almost like the next time I call them, I'm like, hey, I'm actually genuinely like from my heart, I want to see how they're doing. Like, I'm curious to hear about what's going on in their life versus like, oh, I've got to make my 10 contacts today. It makes it way more fun, right? So if you have a script practice partner, run through this really quick. Again, it's a very simple framework. And that's what I've got for you guys today. I'll send out this script book and hopefully it helps.
Awesome. Thanks.
Was
Riley.
that helpful? I mean, did I give you guys a pretty good? Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Riley also, like he already said, he's just very genuine in wanting to talk to people. We'll set up some systems in Command too, so it kind of takes out the bias of it too. I think that a lot of times when you see people's names on a list, you get like intimidated to call through it. And there's just something powerful about just clicking on a name and just, going in there with value. Jill?
You have a question?
Yeah, okay, so how do I get rid of the idea in my head that, okay, at the end of this conversation, they're gonna figure, oh, she just called me about real estate.
You say it as if you just came to that conclusion. You don't say it like, oh, and by the way, now that this is over, I'm going
Right.
to talk about this. You say, oh, that reminds me. And I mean, really, here's how cool this could be. You could take this part of the script. This is non-negotiable. This isn't even that incredibly important. You could just say, hey, thanks for chatting with me. That actually reminds me, I was going to send you out a postcard on your birthday. Do you mind if I get your, or get your birthday from me or whatever? You don't even have to say that if you don't want to. You could literally just cut to it and be like, oh, that reminds me. I recently made a commitment that I'm going to tell everybody that I talked to about my goal. So it could literally be, how's the family, such and such, small talk to, I've got to hold myself accountable. Can you support me? Yeah, sure. No problem. Right. That's way different. And most people, I tell you, if you do a good job actually talking to them, by the time you get to this part of the call, like you can pretty much talk to them about whatever you want. Like I'm telling you, it opens people up. When you give people a platform to truly talk about themselves and their life in a way that's genuine, you'll be so surprised how receptive they are. Like they are stoked to talk to you.
I think what Riley just said though is this part, the forward method, it lets the conversation flow so easily into that initially thinking about, hey, I'm going to talk to them about family, occupation, recreation, dreams, and then real estate. Like it can seem kind of scripted, which is good to follow a format, but through the conversation, like
it's not going to feel that way.
It's not going to feel that way. And you might be asking them about their career and say, how can I help you achieve your goals in your career? What are you looking to do?
Yeah.
Right. Like it.
And the great news is that by the time you've done this call one time, they know you're in real estate. So it's not weird for you to be like, oh yeah, I'm not, it doesn't feel weird to bring up real estate because they literally know you're a real estate agent. You talk to them, they get touched by you 36 times per year. It's not awkward for you to be like, hey, but because even sometimes me, I'm like, I'm about to make my calls and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this right now. And
so he's got a script on there that I'd look over. If you haven't talked to someone in a long time, there's that apology script.
Yeah,
I am so Mark, I'm so sorry. I have not spoken to you in what's it been, Mark? A couple of weeks, 10 weeks, 10 years, whatever it is, right?
Right.
How the heck are you? Oh,
Yeah, I was just thinking about you. I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing. Oh, Riley, I haven't heard from you in like 6 years. How you doing? I'm doing fine, man. Hey, Mark, I'm curious. How's the family? I saw you got remarried a couple of years ago. How's that going? How's the blended family? Oh, that's great. Well, I'm curious. Are you and Sheila doing anything fun? Have you been on, or like whatever? Right? I saw you actually jumped into real estate with Sheila. How's that going? You guys tag teaming some deals together? I love it. That's great. Do you guys have anything fun coming up? I'm curious. Do you have any holiday plans? I could rapid fire this, right? It's just a simple format and it's always enjoyable because you actually get to know about people and what's going on in their life. And then again, at the end of it, you just slip real estate in there. Oh, that reminds me. Hey, I want to send you something. Can I send you a newsletter about real estate once a month? Can I send you a gift card on your birthday? Most people are not going to say no. And at the end, hey, that reminds me, I got to hold myself accountable. I have a goal this year what I've been saying lately is, hey, I'm only like a couple away from my goal for the year. I'm just curious. Do you know of anybody I could help right now? That's way different than like, okay, Susan, do you know of anybody right now that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Like that sounds so disingenuous compared to just like, oh, hey, by the way, friend, can you help me? Like, have you heard of anybody? No? Okay, no problem. Hey, it's good chatting with you. Talk to you tomorrow, or whenever. Is that fair?
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks, Riley.
Yep, no problem.
Heck yeah,
Thank you.
awesome. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Riley. Let's give it up for Riley. That was awesome. Yes. Yeah, I will get you guys that script book and then also our a la carte 20 or 36 touch plan. Yeah, he's got a lot in there. Okay, so I'm going to give the next like 25, 30 minutes to you guys. I want to kind of just dive into things that you have concerned. I have some topics that I want to talk about on how to implement some of the 36 touch items into Command, but I'll also leave it up to you guys that are here. What are you struggling with? What's something that you want to go over? And just throw it out there. We're not on Zoom, so you can just yeah. Great question. That's a great question. So let's talk about that. That's perfect. So this document that I will send out to you guys will have each step, not only what the step is, but how to actually implement it. Let me show you in command how to get a few of the smart plans that you need. I would like to focus hopefully on setting up your calls, implementing a quarterly call plan. Because again, I think that the calls is the most important task you can take. If you're going to do nothing else from the 36 touch plan, do the calls. And then let's set up some, let's do that and then set up some stuff. So I'm going to teach you how to download a plan right now that I want all of you to be doing. And this is going to be the most basic way to set up your phone calls. You can do what's called the bold system, the DTD2. That's what I do with my real estate team. And I think it's really high level. It will probably take us an hour to set it up if we were to do it individually. So we probably won't do that. I will actually just create a video and send it out to you guys, a super high level video, because it would take too much time to do it in this setting. But I will show you a very simple way you can just get started right now. So you don't have to think, oh my gosh, I'm waiting on Hunter to get me the bold system so I can start no, let's get this in place, make your calls, okay? So the first thing that you're gonna wanna do, where's my command? Is just log into command. Yes, absolutely, yeah. So you can pass, please do. Okay, so this is super, super easy. What I would first do, I know I'm going to show you kind of an overview. We might not be able to do it all at once, but what I would first do is identify your top 200 clients or your SOIA. It might be a little bit more, it might be a little bit less. That's what Gary Keller teaches that every agent should have to grow a six-figure real estate business. And do you guys understand the numbers behind 200? Do you know why it's 200? You guys heard that number before? Just really, really quickly. There's a reason that we talk about a database of 200. And there's a reason that I'm saying identify just the 200. Like you heard Riley, he's got 700. I have 900 people in my database. Am I calling all of them? Absolutely not. Are all of them receiving my emails? Yes, right? And there's certain touches that different people get depending on your relationship with them, okay? So red sign, and I'm no original thinker, and this is just what I was taught, and I'm just going to pass it on to you guys. So my database of 900 people, right? I'm going to have 200, and this could be obviously more or less depending on you, right? But 200, let's just call it SOIA. You call it top 200, VIP, SOIA. This is what I was taught. And then SOIB, okay? Out of my 900, what's that? 700, okay? Now, this is a super important distinction. How do you interact with these categories? How do you interact with these people, right? Well, these people right here are going to receive the full 36 touch. They're going to receive all of it, everything. Emails, phone calls, everything. I mean, obviously, there's people that maybe like a really high-level real estate investor, you're maybe not going to connect with him with all of the emails, but you know, he's still in your top 200. He's someone that you want to keep constant tag on. Yeah, Jana. So someone that you are, like how you determine, it's who you feel comfortable calling once a quarter. That's what I would, that is the basis. If you feel comfortable talking, yeah, Robin. You've actually done transactions with in that top? Yes, absolutely. And you'll see right here why. So this group, 36 touch. This group, honestly, pretty much just the emails. I just have the emails just because I have them. They might unsubscribe. I don't really care. I just have their contact information. What I am doing though every week, and I don't do it at the highest level, I'm not the best at this, but I at least know what it is and I can pass it on to, and we can help each other be better. But your whole goal as the real estate agent is to break this down into bite-sized pieces so every week you can feed it. And once you're done feeding this group of people, you ask yourself, is there anyone in this group this week that I can pull over into this? Now, Robin's question about, hey, I've already done a deal with them. Do they need to be receiving all of my marketing material? And the answer is absolutely yes, because here's the math. Now, this number varies depending on the agent. Like Bart's number is going to be a lot better than mine. But it's a generic math. So 200 people will spit out typically a group of 12 people that will refer you business or give you business. So for every 12 people you have in your database, you can usually pull out 12 transactions. Now, Bart's number, I know like Clay's number is actually pretty close to 12. Mine, I think, is probably closer to like 50, right? Just because a lot of my database is not transacting real estate. But that's okay. I just got to up my numbers, right? But let's say it is 12. Let's say it is for like Robin. I bet Robin's is closer to 12 probably. Janet, yours probably is too, right? Your SOI is your SOI is in a place where they're likely to transact real estate. But however, do we deserve the 2 transactions out of that? So that comes out to 34 transactions, right? Out of 200 people in your database. But the only way to actually extract that is through a high level 36 touch plan. So yes, Robin, because they might not do business with you again, but they will refer you business because you're the best, you're a rock star. And so you just need to be top of mind. Okay. So what I would recommend is first setting up a system for calling your database. Absolutely. So you need to like I said, you need to identify the top 200. So we're not going to take the time for you guys to identify the top 200 here. I'm going to show you how to do it though. Super easy. Okay. So the first thing you're going to want to do, it's going to sound intimidating. You're going to create a tag, right? A tag is just basically a way to identify who's in your database. And you guys can see it on there. Okay, perfect. So if you come here, contacts. Now, I haven't worked out a command in a long time. I've been in Boomtown the last 10 months, so I'm updating my command right now. But I will commit to getting it perfect if you guys want to do yours as well. Let's all do it together. Oh, sorry. Okay, if we come over here to contacts, you can see I've already tagged some people with some certain tags. Now, this is just how I've tagged them. I have the letter of their last name and then what category they're in, right? If they're an SOIA, and again, you could get really detailed on it. All I would focus on right now is identifying who is your top 200. That's going to be the most important, the easiest to implement. And
So you have 26 tags of the alphabet.
yes.
One tag for A, one tag for
Yes. So I will do,
first name or last
I do it by their last name. And so that's the bold system. And I'm going to be sending out a video and step by step. I do think that the bold system is the best way to interact with your database, mainly for you, right? Because you can call A through Z just fine. And it's not that like, yeah, maybe like the week that you have the S's and you're calling all the Smith families, right? There's going to be bigger than the Z's, but it's really not that big of a deal. The reason that the bold method of the DTD2, and we're just going to start calling it the bold method for sake of ease, is it removes any bias from the agent, right? It's like, hey, I'm calling this set of people every week, and it's not, hey, maybe I can skip some people. It's just keeping yourself accountable. So I will definitely show you guys the bold method. I think that is by far the best. But again, you'd have to go and create tags. You have to create A through Z tags. You have to go tag everyone by their last name, right? And so it is a little bit intimidating, but definitely worth the time. Yeah.
No, I thought they did only 4 tags were like A through E.
So they actually, I tag all by the individual last letter just to have it like that. The actual tags, and I'll share this with you guys. This is the actual DTD2 method, and they do like A and W. So you could create half the amount of tags. You create 13. I personally just like the idea of being able to segment it by last letter of last name. Anyway, but let me just show you guys how to create a tag. So if I was to just jump right in and wanted to start calling people in a systematic way, what I would do is I would first create a top 200 tag. So if you come over here, click on settings, right here, settings. Let that load. I think we can end the Zoom call. It will load. Okay, if that doesn't load, that's okay. We have this too. Okay, can you guys see this? Okay, let's see. And so this is exactly what you guys are going to receive, something just like this. So click on your profile, click on settings, command settings. And stop, like if you guys are trying to follow along, let me know. But if not, I'll just show you. Command settings, contacts, contact tags, and then create tag. And right here is where I would go and label top 200. This is if you were to do the DTD2, the bold method, you would do A, and then you do B, and then C, and then D, all the way to Z, right? Okay, then it doesn't matter. Like, I know Shoney tags all of his investors with this black color. Like, you could get creative with it. I don't think it matters. But anyway, you can, yeah, choose an appearance, click save. Anyway, now the process of applying these tags is where it's going to be up to you to really determine, right? So,
So once we have everyone's last name tagged by their first initial, of their
yes,
first letter of their last name, that creates 26 tags with X amount of people.
yes,
And now we are getting ready to then.
to apply them.
The bold.
Yes. So now that you have the tag, so either if you have the A through Z, so if you're doing so there's two methods that you're going to hear me talking about. There is the simple quarterly call method, which is just top 200, set them on a quarterly call smart plan. And that's what I'll show right now. Then there's the bold method, which is A through Z, SOI-A, SOI-B, and then it's implementing that system in command. And it's super easy. I have an email set up that will remind you each week which ones to call. And you can get really detailed on it. But yeah, so that's what you would do. Now, applying the tags is where you might find some hiccup, just because it is kind of time consuming. So, but don't let that discourage you, because it is worth the time having an organized database. But let's say I'm just going to do the top 200, right? What I would do is start scrolling through. I actually like to put this is almost every time that I'm doing something, I'm going to put it to these 500 people. That way I'm not having to switch the page, because if you switch the page, it will deselect everyone, right? So I'm going to start going through. If I was just to do the more simple method, and I would start selecting, okay, David Abbott, and he's in here twice, so he shouldn't. Do I feel comfortable calling him every quarter? If the answer is yes, I'd put him in my top 200. If no, you can either tag him, you can either leave, like you can either do an SOIB tag, or you can just not tag him at all, right? But the whole idea is to be able to identify who those people are. Now, Bart, if you were to do the DTD2 method, the bold method, I would actually recommend sorting by 25 contacts, and then coming up here and sorting by last name A through Z. And the reason I would do that, and there's some people that, like, if you don't have a completely updated contact card, they'll obviously, like, Haley, girl from Cafe Rio, like, that's not correct, right? But the reason I like to do that, Bart, is because then I have all of the A's and no more, right? There might be more on the next page, but then that makes it super easy to just identify all the A's. So what I would do, and you could, if this is your top 200 or if this is just your A's, click right here, select bulk action, add tag. Now I would go add the A's, or I would go add top 200, right? If I had gone through and personally selected everyone with showing 500 contacts, or if I was just doing showing 25 and wanted to do all the A's, right? And then the next process would be, Bart, to go to the next page. Perfect. And I'd come down, I'd see, okay, so I start to get into the B's. So this is where it gets time consuming, because then I'd have to individually select all the A's, tag them. Does that make sense though? How to create a tag, how to apply it? Okay, so now let's say that you have a database of 200 people. You've identified your top 200. Okay, hopefully that's not too overwhelming. It's not too hard, right? I'm going to teach you. Yeah, Bart.
It's not too hard. Dang it all the heck, only because we live in Utah County. All right. It's not too hard. This is where you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
No apologies from staff.
Gosh darn it. Do it.
What is that other company that doesn't sell real estate? Okay?
Let's sell some houses. Okay. Well, I'm going to now show you the easiest way to do a call system. Again, my bias is towards the bold method, because that's what I've been doing for the last 10 months, and I think it's high level, but it's the same effect. It's just a little bit different. This is really easy though. So what I'm going to do is filter by my top 200. So I would come to tags and I would type top 200. Perfect. Okay. All I'm doing is filtering by that tag. Yeah. Yes, because they already have the tag. Exactly. I went through, I identified. So that's on your plate, right? Go say, hey, am I comfortable calling this person? Anyway, I'm going to apply that. Now, for the sake of this demo, I only have tagged 4 people just so it's easier to see. But ideally, right, this would have 200 people in it, right? Or however many people you feel comfortable calling. Now, Now that that's identified, there is a smart plan that you need to download. It's likely already in your smart plan library, and this will be in my email that I send you. But click on, yeah, Mark.
The top 200, you had to create that tag also.
I created the, yes.
Opposed to like the AW.
Yeah, I created the top 200. And again, we're talking about two different systems. They're both really high level. But I prefer one or the other. But either one you do, you just commit to it. So you have just simple quarterly call method, and then you have DTD2 in bold. Same thing, right? This requires tags A through Z and SOI A. All of this requires is a top 200 or an SOI A, right? Pretty much the same thing. It's just this just requires more setup and manage. You're doing it with bold? Well, you can still. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. Again, the bold method does, like, I'll have to make an actual video on it because it's a handful to set up and implement at a high level, but it's worth it. Like, that's what the red sign team does. But for someone that's like, hey, I only have 200 people in my, like, I'm not too worried about being really specific on the letters. And again, more so than anything, the DTD2 method is just good to remove some bias. That's the whole purpose of it. At the end of the day, this method is going to work really well as well. So come over to Smart Plans and identify if you have this Smart Plan downloaded. And you probably already do, but if not, that's okay. Why is that not scrolling? So you need this Smart Plan right here. My quarterly call plan. Again, the most simple one that you could implement and the easiest one to manage. My quarterly call plan. Let me know if you have that. If you don't, that's totally fine. I'll teach you how to download it. And this is good. So when you guys do look over my sheet on how to do all this, a lot of these steps are the same. You just have to change which smart plan you're looking for. So let's say you don't have the quarterly call plan. You're going to come up here to library. Simply type in. Oh, actually, I think Keller Williams has one. Yes, my quarterly call plan. If you actually look, I think it's in the, if you look right here in the Keller Williams section, I believe, yeah, right here. So this is the smart plan that I'm referring to. I just went to library, scrolled down to Keller Williams, and quarterly call plan right there. Okay, select it, download it. Awesome. I'm going to come back to contacts. I'm going to filter again by my top 200, right, to make sure. So I have this set up already. So here's my top 200, right? You would just selected the filter. Now it's super easy. You come here, select bulk action. Again, I'm probably going to try and display as many contacts as possible. So if there's, I just do 500 so I get everyone at once. Select all. Let me zoom in just a little. Select bulk action. Add to smart plan. And now my quarterly call plan, select. Now this is really cool. There's 3 options. You can start all now. So it tells you, hey, call all 200 right now. Who wants to call their entire database in 1 week? Who wants to call 200 people? I don't. No. Okay. Let's look at this option. Stagger start over the next few days. Now, this is what I'm going to recommend to you. This is really awesome. You would take however many people are in your top 200, and bear with me, divide it by 13 weeks, and then by 5 business days. Does that make sense? So it's every quarter. 5. So if you have, 200 people, so let's do the math on that. So 200 people divided by 13 weeks, so it's a quarter, and then divided by 5 business days. For easy math, let's call it 4 phone calls a day. Who here can make 4 phone calls a day? Right? Awesome. If you can do more and you want to do more and finish your calls sooner during the month or during the quarter, you can. If you want to do less, if you're, but I would recommend at least segmenting it so it's done in the quarter. But yeah, all I would do is select, okay, maximum contacts per day. I only want to talk to 4 people per day.
Now, if you do that and you do 4 days instead of 5, it gives you 2 options. 1, you don't have to make contacts on Friday.
Yes.
Because you're disciplined. Or 2,
right.
The 17 people that you thought you don't like because they're in print on your contact sheet, you have to call them on Friday.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a good point because this is going to go for the weekend. So obviously, like, because that's every single day. So when you get in on Monday, you're going to have a couple of phone calls from Saturday and Sunday, right? So just be cognizant of that. So maybe you want to up how many calls you do. So like instead of 4, maybe do 5 a day, 6 a day, just so it takes off some work so you're not getting overloaded on a Monday. But anyway, once I've confirmed that, this is my absolute favorite part. If you have the command app on your phone, you can come into the command app. And I can come to command, and I can come to tasks. And look, those are the people I need to call this week. Yes, and then I click on my phone, and I'll show you on the computer. Perfect, I need to call Tossin. Here's what we last talked about. And I can just call him straight from my phone. Yeah.
So I have Kelly, is that different?
So Kelly is like a personal assistant app. I don't know enough about it to teach on it yet, but I recommend downloading the Keller Williams app. Just KW command. Look up KW command in your phone. And yeah, so then every single week, you're going to have new tasks. You don't have to question, who do I call? I just look at my phone and it says, call these people. Does that make sense? Awesome.
Just does that by itself.
Yep. Every week it's gonna, well, every day it's gonna notify you. Every day it's gonna notify you 4 new people to call, and it's your responsibility to do so. Yeah, Brittany. Great. So depending on your workflow, that's gonna vary. Some agents will like make phone calls in the car, right? And that's like a different system. So I'm gonna first say it depends on how you want to do it. If I was to do it, I would personally want to be able to make my phone calls at the office. 1, just because of the environment, and 2, I have the option to like be at my computer. Hey, actually, I had a question about this property, and I can look at, but so it totally depends. But what I would do is come into my tasks, and this would be the workflow. So that's a great question. This would be the workflow. Now, this is going to be overwhelming because I've been messing with a couple systems, so I have like a ton of tasks. But basically, this would ideally only be 4 people today, right? So I would click on Tossin. Perfect. And I have this is an agent that was our office at one point, so he shouldn't even be on here. But right, I can read through his description. Anyway, and then I can complete the task. If you want to, hang on.
So there's a place to take notes every time you talk to people, so you have all that.
Yeah, and I don't know. Hang on, I'm looking at something different here.
Go back to those 3 dots on the right side.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, right here. Perfect. So if you wanted to, log the conversation that you had a great phone call, whatever it is, right? Add that note. Perfect. And I'm going to select that I did that, right? Oh, yeah, this is where I would do it. Actually, sorry. When you go to complete the task, once you had called them, right? No answer, left voicemail, we talked, went well, right? You would do obviously more detailed than that. But this is the best part, complete task. Okay, now this is going to remind me in 90 days to speak with him again. Okay, but let's go to his contact card. So he's out of my task now. He's off my task list. I only have 3 more names to do. But this is the best part. Next time I go to call him, right, I can look here and think, oh, perfect. Look, we talked, went well. Obviously, like talked about real estate, talked about this, talked about that, right? So I have an updated, more updated information, just like Riley was saying. So I can come from a place of value, come from a place of connecting with someone. That makes sense? Okay. Is that complicated? Or not too bad? I love what Bart said. Let's just do it. We want to sell some houses, so we got to do this. Okay, so that's the call method. That's the quarterly call plan. Again, probably the easiest way to just initially get started on calling. And I think it's awesome. Does that answer some questions, concerns? Yeah, is that good? So that's what I would recommend. If you're going to do nothing else, do that. Okay, nothing else, do that. What else? Still have like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Yeah. Yes. Kimber. From Kimber. Yes. I mean, so here's the thing, you can totally, for the sake of like some agents that don't have time to do it, I think that Salt Lake is a pretty good indicator of where the Utah housing market's at. But obviously, like my stomping grounds, Utah County, like I grew up here. So I personally would, like I'm on Red Sign team and Caton builds out our emails. But if I wasn't, I would probably just go and snag the Utah one and put it on there as well, which you can totally do. But it just kind of depends on your database. Like if your database is in Salt Lake County, I mean, most of us are probably here in Utah County. That's why we're here at this brokerage, but it's totally up to you. So it depends. So yeah, you could go download off of UCAR's website. They have the monthly stats. I think the MLS prints it too, but yeah, just get a system. What I would encourage is just get a habit at like today's November 1, like the first week of every month, like, hey, time to hurry and update our, and it should only take like 10 minutes, right? But I think a lot of agents think that, oh, because I have to actually do it, that they, you know, and again, the emails, you guys, I don't want to say this in the big class, but there's like 20% open rate is what real estate agents get on their emails. Like you're not going to be selling houses through emails. I'm just telling you that. I don't think it's wrong to have an email set up, and I encourage it. What I said also is really important. You need to have a conversation and let people know, like Riley said, that you're going to be emailing them. Because if you just start, I'm guilty of this because I just went in when I first got started. My brother and sister both got married, and I took their wedding registries and just started sending marketing material to it. And guess how many people unsubscribed? Like everyone, because I didn't have a conversation of, hey, I want to come from a place of value and contribute to your life. I want to let you know what's going on in real estate, right? So if you do that, then the emails are going to have a lot higher value. But also don't let that stop you from like I said, like send the emails. Who cares? Send the emails. Let them see your face. Let them see your name. Oh my gosh, I saw that you unsubscribed from my, but you unsubscribed from my email. Well, here, let me tell you why you should resubscribe, and have a conversation. I kid you not. My twin brother, his home teaching companion when we were like 15, 16 years old, just unsubscribed last week. I need to call him and have a really good conversation with him because he unsubscribed. I got to go have a good conversation with him.
When did you talk to him last?
That's the thing. I was probably 17, 18. Yeah. But he had been subscribed for a while. I needed to have the conversations. But again, but even if he unsubscribed, he was over here. He was in my SYB. I wasn't calling him every quarter, but I still have his phone number. It's a perfect opportunity. He's in my database. When I have some time, that's an awesome person that needs real estate services. I can go talk to him, have a great conversation.
And Hunter knows him well enough that he can have that conversation. And he may say, you know what? I am so tired of my inbox getting so filled. And Hunter could say, what's the best way for me to keep you updated on the market?
Yes.
Shoot me a quick text once a month, no more.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And that's where you would then tailor, right? That's perfect, Bart. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and that's where you would then tailor it to people, right? So that's the other thing. I definitely do recommend, even if you don't have their phone number, like now this is, there'll be some debate on this, right? But like there's people that I want in my SOI. Like I'm like, hey, like I just met this person, even though like I don't have that close of a relationship, like this is the type of person that I want to have that relationship. So I will actually put them on my quarterly call plan, just so every quarter I'm intentionally trying to develop that relationship. So that's kind of like a middle ground of, because like I don't want to forget about them. I don't want them to just get lost into email spam and just like, because I don't check this I check this maybe once a week, if that. And so there's people like that, like, hey, this is a person that I want to connect with. I'm just not going to maybe have my full 36 touch plan. Anyway, you guys get the idea. Okay, awesome. I love that comment, Bart. That was awesome. Tailoring it to your people too. Good. Okay, what else? I'm sure that there's a ton that could come up. Other smart, yeah. Or anything, yeah, whatever you're. That's great. So you're going to need to create a smart plan, and you just come over here.
And will it individualize?
Yes, you can individualize it. So if you come over to smart plans and create, now I would encourage you to stay away from this as much as possible, because this could probably take a lot of time out of your, out of your day to create emails and send them. But like once a month, I think that's totally fine. I think you should, I would encourage that, but whatever you want it to be. So like, A perfect example would be if we want to do a invite, right? So on the a la carte option that I'll send over to you, we encourage sending out emails like 3 weeks before the event. So let's do event, right? Invite. And like this keyboard's kind of sticky. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to create this smart plan.
So you could use that over and over again.
Yeah, you could use it over and over again. I'm actually, when it gets closer to the events that we're going to be throwing, I'm going to start just making smart plans that people can just download, because I can publish one and then our whole office can download it. But what I would do to make the smart plan, and then if you wanted to do one yourself, is I would come in here and I'd say, perfect, okay, I want the agents to first send an email, right? We would type out the email. Perfect. And then I want them to next and I'm kind of going high level right here, but like this is where you'd write the email, just so you know. Yeah.
I did that and tried to put a picture in it and I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Kind of sometimes getting images in it can be a little tricky. Yeah, you can definitely do it. It's just it would take some fidgeting, but we can make it work. But in this email, let's say like, hey, I want to come to this little thing right here. Lets you automatically insert something. So if I did contact first name, right? So that says contact first name, but that's going to auto adjust for whoever I send it to. Hey, I just thought of you. Would love for you and your family to come to the event, right? Just generic, right? And then I'm going to put like best, yeah, excuse my grammar and everything, but, and then agent first name or whatever, right? That way it's super tailored. I'm working on getting your custom, like your email signature in there. I've had some difficulty. I've gotten some to work, some haven't. So I'll be looking into that further. Yeah, we'll just put agent and first name. That's what it would come as. But again, you can really tailor, like I would tailor my phone calls around, here's the thing. If this is an event invite, you better know that I am calling my entire top 200. You know, we have it on that a la carte menu. You'll see here kind of what we recommend. You can tailor this. Let me come down to. Yes, I will. So like event invites, there's no, like, this is really up to you to decide, but maybe 3 weeks before, send out an invite email. 2 weeks before, call and invite your top 200, confirm current address, right? 2 weeks before, send out invitation, 1 to 2 days, post last call invite, follow up with sphere that came. So anyway, I'll once we get closer to the Keller Splash, the next one probably will be Keller Splash, like the next big one, but we'll have a smart plan that you guys can just turn on and, well, you shouldn't have to worry about creating your own smart plans. That's my goal. But that's how you would do it. And now, honestly, now is the perfect time. Just one little tidbit right now, you guys. Now is the best time to be calling people and asking for addresses. Say, hey, I'm sending out holiday cards. Like, that's just a super easy way. So I would definitely get the addresses, because if you have someone's address, you can immediately enroll them, obviously get their permission, or at least talk to them so they don't just immediately, but you can enroll them in our neighborhood snap or our monthly neighborhood nurture, and it will update them monthly on the value of homes in their area. So now's a great time to get addresses. Yeah, the 36 touch plan works at a high level, depending on how much data you have, right? Again, the phone call is the most important, but like if you want the full 36 touch, you need addresses, you need phone numbers, you need birthdays, you need home anniversary. It's just more options for you. Okay. Yeah, I know that's a little high level. But again, I hope it was basic enough. I hope you got some value from it. I'm going to be finishing up this this plan right here with all of our stuff, all of our resources. And then yeah, just run with it. Do what you like. I do encourage you, do the phone calls, like bare minimum, and then run with the other stuff, like whatever feels best for you. Let's get it in place. Yeah, these will all be going out before the end of the week. I'll get you guys Riley's scripts and then our touch plan. Okay, guys. Awesome. Thank you.